Greetings, everyone. Now, greetings, everyone. This is Rock and Roll Spot coming at you with the rest of this week's comic book roundup. Getting started on the DC and Boom titles for the week, we'll kick things off with The Batman's Grave number 8. Where we left off in the Batman's Grave, a string of crimes in Gotham has certainly had Batman rather perplexed. This included a breakout at Arkham Asylum and the murder of the head of Gotham's CSI. Investigating the murder of the head of CSI, Batman discovered that, well, actually Alfred discovered that the perpetrator was a man going by the name of Colonel Sulphur. And so Batman managed to capture Sulphur and also prevent him from making another kill. And had him at, well, Batman took him to what is basically best referred to as a black site, with the intention of using enhanced interrogation techniques, as the saying goes. Which is where we begin. Batman explains to Sulphur he doesn't have time to waste and he wants to know where Location 5 is. Further explain that he will cook everything below Sulphur's knees down to the marrow if Sulphur doesn't comply. When Sulphur doesn't, well, Batman does begin, well, simply put, torturing Sulphur. Batman does manage to get the location, find out where Location 5 is, and goes to meet with whoever Sulphur's meeting with. And Batman comes upon him, and basically his prey explains that, says to Batman that Batman needs to stop now because this isn't about him. Batman, however, disagrees, saying that it became about him as soon as his opponent began killing people. However, turns out that Batman's newfound opponent was planning on Colonel Sulphur turning on him, and so made plans for such an event. Batman's able to escape and tosses a flashbang full of flechettes down, while explosives go off around the docks. Batman manages to find one of the flechettes and discovers that it has blood on it. And so, Commissioner Gordon finds Colonel Sulphur, and it's suggested that maybe Gordon should go outside and smoke his pipe while two other officers take Sulphur into custody. One officer suggests to the other that maybe Colonel Sulphur escaped from his bonds and took a service weapon, and so, yeah, Sulphur didn't make it. Batman returns to the Batcave, explaining to Alfred that he's met the actual enemy. And Alfred explains that the news services are assuming that Batman has something to do with a series of unsettling explosions, though Batman does state that his involvement in them is that he got knocked around by them. And so the flechette with the blood sample is placed in the the, the DNA typing system. However, Batman's still bothered that Cornelius Stirk is out there. Alfred suggests that for finding Stirk, perhaps Batman should release the Bat Hounds. Though Batman insists that they're drones. Alfred, however, is adamant in calling them Bat Hounds. And Batman's honestly loath to use them, as the city's frightened enough without them, and Alfred himself even said that the profile of the drones is disturbing. And Alfred manages to convince Batman to say, release the Bat Hounds. Which the Bat Hounds, by the by, not too frightening in appearance, in my opinion. Though I definitely see why Alfred would refer to them as Bat Hounds. The DNA matching has finished, however, and it turns out that this new player is a relative of a former mob hitman known as the Good Thing Killer. Batman explains that GTK was a mob soldier, top hitter. One time he didn't finish a job and the victim made it to the police. Said victim told the police that the killer said, I know, you have a wife and 6 kids, but they'll be better off without you. The world will be better off without you. It's a good thing. And apparently that got around, and it turned out there had been witnesses to some of his kills, and they confessed they heard him say the same thing. About 75 murders were ascribed to the Good Thing Killer. GTK had kids too, big family, died in a gun, and but he himself died in a gunfight with police. The DNA, however, states that this new player is in fact the child of the Good Thing Killer. Alfred does think it's something of a coincidence that this killer also lost his parents at a young age. Though Batman says there's no such thing as coincidence. However, Alfred does state that there's an old saying, there are 8 million people in Gotham City, so if your kink is 1 in a million, there are 700 people in town just like you. Which leads Batman to ask Alfred where Alfred goes when he's not around. Alfred then, of course, says, you've never heard of the naked motorcyclist of Gotham City? And so, well, Batman says he has to think. However, Alfred says that what Batman needs is for Alfred to tend to his injuries, and then for Batman to get some sleep. And he prescribes one of his famous hot toddies. Which Batman does ask, aren't those mostly whiskey? Alfred explains, with a crumbled sleeping pill garnish. So, he drinks the hot toddy. But later on, that night, Alfred tells Bats that there's a police emergency broadcast frequency. There's something on the police emergency broadcast frequency from Arkham. Batman arrives, and it turns out that Cornelius Stirk has gotten to Jeremiah Arkham, ripping out his heart. Batman tells Gordon what he knows about the new player, and Batman is starting to put pieces together, explaining that Stirk is another bullet in Anthony's gun, an expression of his scorn. Gordon asks what Scorn's game is, what he wants, and Batman explains that he wants this for the justice system of Gotham City. And it's pretty clear as to why. So Batman then asks what happens to Arkham Asylum with Jeremiah Arkham dead. Gordon informs them they had just been talking about that. Stark got in and out undetected, so the Sworn Army may still have people on the inside. They had to clear every member of the staff individually, and that's going to take a bit. And they have no idea what until then. So Batman says that he has some thinking to do, and he knows Arkham pretty well. And so Batman names himself the interim warden of Arkham Asylum. Because that's going to end oh so well. And that is where the issue ends. I will say I am absolutely loving Batman's Grave, and I wish Warren Ellis would just take a rip, just do a nice long run on one of the regular Bat books, because to be perfectly frank, that would actually get me reading that would probably have me reading the regular Bat books again. Anyways, moving on to DCeased, Dead Planet #1. So where we left off in DCeased, not Unkillables, but the original DCeased miniseries. Some of those surviving heroes managed to get what survivors they could off the planet Earth. Superman and Wonder Woman both ended up infected with the anti-life equation. Superman flew into the sun and began, well, absorbing it. Cyborg also stayed behind, as realizing he was infected. Well, it would probably not be the best idea for him to go off with the rest of the heroes. And just as he realized there was a cure, however, the infected Wonder Woman seemingly killed him. So we begin with a recap of DCeased. We lost. We lost our heroes. We lost our whole world. We lost so much we didn't think we had anything left to lose. We were wrong. Then we cut to the Oblivion Bar, where Constantine's having a drink with the ashes of Chaz. And it then explains that Chaz had been infected by the anti-life equation and John had to set him on fire. As one does. Zatanna then shows up, explaining that the world is depressing enough and that, well, John shouldn't be drinking alone. But he explains he's not alone. And the narration goes on to explain Constantine spent his nights drinking with a shoebox of remains and the ghosts of his past. Big Barda, Mr. Miracle, Mr. Terrific, Blue Beetle, and Booster Gold. They were all willing to sacrifice themselves to fight for something they believed in. John was never big on sacrifices. He sacrificed others for the greater good, but he always avoided being that guy. Cyborg ended up being that guy. So 5 years have gone by, and Cyborg, whose head had been ripped off by Wonder Woman, found something buried deep by Batman. And it actually words it as, Cyborg discovered that his friend had betrayed him. A secret tracker that he turned on. He made a small, all-important change and boosted it. Every last ounce of power to one distress signal not knowing who would reach anyone. He sent out a cry for help, which broadcast out from Earth to a new world. That world being Earth 2. On Earth 2, well, they're currently under attack from an alien empire. And so, Wonder Woman, Cassie Sandsmark, Superman, John Kent, Green Lantern, Dinah Lance Queen, and Batman, Damian Wayne, are doing their part to, protect Earth 2 from these invaders. John wants to do things peacefully with as few complications as possible, Damien, however, is more than willing to, well, do things his own way. And as he starts talking shit to the leader of the alien empire, Superman shows up and says, "Hey, this has all been a misunderstanding, but it can be resolved with words." And so he basically says, it's kind of a cliche for where we come from, but let us take you to our leader. And so they go to New Metropolis, the home to 13 million human survivors. And Lois Lane, the president of Earth 2, speaks to the alien emperor. Explaining that they wish no harm to his people, and they came to this world for sanctuary and nothing more. However, Alfred gets in touch with Damien, explaining that Damien's briefcase is beeping in Morse code. So, later on at the new Hall of Justice, the League, Black Lightning, Thunder, Hawkgirl, Superman, Green Arrow, Green Lantern, Green Canary, Wonder Woman, are all listening to the signal. With Batman explaining that it's Morse code for J and L. Cyborg calling for the Justice League. However, Green Arrow's afraid that it's a trick. Maybe he's infected and the anti-life virus is literally trying to lure us back to Earth to finish us off. Arrow's kind of thinking they got things good there. Hardly anything trying to kill them. Though Superman does point out they just fought a war. However, Damien retorts with, "You can't call that a war." So Green Arrow votes that they stay. Green Canary, on the other hand, says that Ollie's right, which of course elicits a thank you from Ollie, until she finishes and adds that they should vote. That they should vote, which is absolutely not what Ollie was saying. It was unanimous, though. And so, Green Canary tries benching Ollie. Kind of hey, I don't. You're a guy with a bow and arrow. But I love you. I don't want to lose you. Going over the list of everyone they lost. And so, she ends up offering up the magic sword that she has, which includes kryptonite in the blade. Make a note of that. To Ollie, and he offers to wield it. And so the League returns. Kilowog's on guard detail over Earth, and explains that Superman's still in the sun, draining it. Also, the Earth's getting colder. However, something is coming from Earth. That something, though, is crypto. And so, big smiles, everyone's happy. And so the League lands, and they find what's left. They find Cyborg, both parts of him. Wonder Woman uses the lasso of truth to allow Cyborg to speak. But he can't really say much because he doesn't have much in the way of power. Hawkgirl notices, though, that they have some monstrous hordes coming in about 10 minutes away. So, however, Cyborg is able to at least get a few words out. She's here. She's always here. Run. And their ship gets flown through. By Wonder Woman, who promptly kills, or at least infects, Ollie, who dies saying, "I'm sorry, pretty bird." However, Canary gets the sword from him and goes after Wonder Woman. However, the Cyborg is trying to stop them. Stop because he's trying to tell them there's a cure. Superman has heard, but is trying to stop Canary from killing Diana, explaining that they can save her. And she ends up stabbing Superman. Though, to be fair, it doesn't look like it's a fatal blow. However, the blade does not just go through Superman. It also goes through Wonder Woman. Not sure yet if she's dead or not. The narration continues, however, saying that they lost so much they didn't have anything else to lose. They were wrong. And the issue ends with John Kent, now Superman, with a part kryptonite blade stuck in his back, stuck through him and through Diana, Princess Diana of the Amazons. That is where the issue ends. It's nice to know we got a new DCeased book. And moving on to our final book of the week, we have Something is Killing the Children, number 8, from Boom Studios. Where we left off, the monster had been killed. However, it had babies. The local medical examiner was trying to identify the remains as best as possible using the school gym because, well, that was one of the few places where they had room. Another member of the Slaughter family has arrived to take over for Erica, and as he puts it, clean up her mess. And it turns out that the offspring of the monster can only be killed when they're feeding. So they need to get bait. Which, well, to be fair, is not something that Erica's too keen on doing. But, well, yeah. So we begin. Oh, cripes. What's his friggin' name? James, the young boy whose tale started this. Young boy whose friend's deaths were the start of this whole series, wakes in the hospital having been shot. The sheriff is waiting to talk to him, wanting to know what's happened. Apparently the sheriff thinks it's aliens. But James kind of explains, that he doesn't know that they're not aliens, but he's pretty sure they aren't. They're monsters. So the sheriff's like Dracula? And James says, no, not like Dracula. More like, I don't know, a big shadow thing that eats kids? I don't know what they call it. And so the sheriff asks if James knows who they are, the people Erica works for. James doesn't, but he doesn't think that she likes them very much. And so the sheriff asks if James trusts her. He says, I mean, kind of. Explaining that, he got shot, and then Erica stabbed the guy that shot him in the head so he could see the monsters too. Then he got us all out of there, so maybe that was right. And so now the sheriff realizes that Tommy Mahoney can see the monsters too. And so the sheriff leaves James in peace. At the police station, Bayan is drawing. And does kind of bring up her own experiences with her own recent experiences with death to the receptionist there, and yeah, and then Erica and her partner arrive. They're going to take Leanne with her. However, one of the deputies shows up and demands that Leanne come with him instead of the Slaughters. And so Erica, the newly arrived member of the Slaughter family, knocks out the receptionist, who's about to call the sheriff. Aaron, that's his name. Leanne, however, does not like the idea of Erica and Aaron going after the babies, because they're babies. They didn't know they're bad. And when Aaron goes to take out the deputy, Erica knocks him out and tells the deputy to keep Leanne safe. Keep her away from the woods and nowhere near the school or somewhere stupid like his house. She tells Tom he's being an idiot, but he's being an idiot for the right reasons. And so now she's got to clean up the mess that Aaron has made. And so, at the school, the medical examiner having finally gone through and identified the remains as best as possible, so they're going to do this in an orderly manner. Principal Collins is going to cross-check names of the missing kids and bring them in to identify bodies. The ME goes on to explain it's going to be a rough day on everyone, and they're doing the best they can. So let's try and do some solidarity. And kind of hey, be nice to the principal. If it weren't for him, they'd probably be doing this in the Piggly Wiggly parking lot. And so, names start getting read. Tommy is trying to get his mom to leave, but I have to know. And so, she suggests that, maybe Tommy can find something better to do than get in everyone's way. And so he calls someone up and asks if she wants to drive down to the Dells or something. He needs to get out of town, and things have gotten too weird. However, he sees something and decides he'll call her back. At the police station, Erica's cleaning up Aaron's mess. Aaron asks why Erica hit him, and she tells him that it was going in that direction, and Beyond might have gotten hurt if Aaron had actually attacked the deputy. She then asks if Aaron even knows how to fight a human. And Erica then explains that what Aaron's going to do is make sure the sheriff doesn't arrest him for assaulting the receptionist at the department. And then Aaron's going to find them a place to do a ritual. Erica will get bait. Though Aaron does explain that she'd better act quick. All it's going to take is one kill to make the babies a lot deadlier. And going into the wood, back with Tommy, he goes into the woods, calls Tam back and says to forget about the Dells, and he says that, he needs Tam, the person he called, to find Erica, creepy girl with the eyes, and tell her that the things are right behind the school where all the bodies are, and that he thinks they got another kid. He then explains that, he won't say more than that, just find Erica. and he stands at what appears to be the side of a get out of kill, and then the creatures come for him. And that is where the issue ends. And that's it for this week's comic book roundup. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, Patreon, and PayPal can be found in the description box down below. This is Rock and Roll Spock signing off, saying, live long and rock hard.